Good evening and welcome back to me. So, it's starting finally. This is. I don't want to say I predicted this, but I kind of felt it was going to come anyway. It doesn't surprise me. Markets are in the red today as we are preparing for what is coming up essentially next in terms of tariffs. That stuff is happening tomorrow. Hold on, let me just readjust my seat. So, we're about to flip over into a downtrend. A lot of altcoins already have. I've shown you some before. I thought they would flip to the uptrend, but they unfortunately did not. Seems like it's going to be a prolonged issue that we might experience for the duration of this weekend at least. It's going to be a long weekend here for Canadians. We got I don't know, something, civic holiday, whatever that does. Yeah, so we just broke down our support 115,000. We reached a low of 14,200. Odd level for us to slow down at, but to be fair, the candle has not yet closed. Maybe this is just a little blip and we could bounce back up. I do not think we will. Yeah, here we go with the yawning again. All right. Yeah, I still feel like this is absolutely going to continue. Prolonged issue, maybe until 112k. That's where we could see some entries when Bitcoin does become oversold. If we still do believe that we are in an uptrend, which I still believe that. There's also, we got economic data, PCE data, which didn't help with the case of a potential rate cut. We actually have a diminished chance of getting a rate cut. I saw the percentages. It was like 60-40. Yesterday it was 50-50 that we could or could not get a rate cut in the next meeting. We're talking about September. And we'd also be getting Fed projections. That's why September would also be a very important meeting. As of right now, our previous projections that we had from, not the meeting that was yesterday, but the meeting way before that, we had projections of 2 rate cuts possibly this year. And Jerome Powell also mentioned there's no guarantee that September will have a rate cut. So dream on, kiddos. And that ultimately upset the market. That caused this little crash over here. But we had a little rise right after that because we realized, hey, you know what? It might not be so bad. But I think these people forget that there's tariffs coming. And I've been saying this for a while now. Not only are we getting tariffs tomorrow, we're also getting non-farm payroll data and unemployment data, which is also another crucial factor for us to pay attention to. Given the PCE data that we got today, which came in slightly above expectations, at least year over year, I think it was. I could check the exact data right now. So, month over month, we came in line with expectations. And do we have the year over year one? This one. This one came in a little bit higher, right? Which means that inflation is probably a little bit on the rise. 0.1%, like that's really nothing, but oh well, it is what it is. All right. So what's more important though? Tomorrow, non-farm payrolls, unemployment data. Overall, like the economy is still pretty good. Like this is nothing to be afraid about. Like doesn't mean that, rate cuts are canceled for this year. No, it just, with this data that we got today, it just diminished the chances of us seeing a potential rate cut if we check these percentages over here. I tried checking it yesterday as well, but the site kind of crashed on me, remember? Yeah, it's about 60-40, give or take. 60% chance we do not get a rate cut, 40% chance that we do. Odds are not looking in our favor, and it only looks like we could be getting 1 rate cut this year. When we have pressure from Donald Trump to cut, 3% of rate cuts? That would drop us from 4.5% down to 1.5%, which is obviously not going to happen. It's probably an exaggeration, but Trump really doesn't want this guy, Jerome Powell, to cut rates. Doesn't seem like we will be getting that, unfortunately, at least not to the extent of 2 rate cuts. At the beginning of the year, it was all looking much better, but because of this whole tariff stuff, those chances have just kept on going lower and lower. After April 7, we only had 2 rate cut projections from 3 or 4 before that it was. Right now, it's only looking like 1. We're getting more tariff stuff tomorrow. So, given that, it seems like that is why Jerome Powell decided to wait for another meeting without any changes to see how these August 1st tariffs will impact the economy. Because fair enough, credit where it is due, Trump has been delaying the tariffs, and that's probably why the economy has not been really impacted. Sure, we've had some, impact to... We saw what happened April 7, right? Everything reached an all-time low. Not all-time low, yearly low. Probably even lower than where prices were the year before, right? So... Man, I'm yawning again. I'm yawning like crazy. Yeah, you get the point, though. We're probably not going to get the rate cut that we expect. Bitcoin is on its way down. Super trend is looking like it's going to put its resistance right where we have this one over here at 121,000, which is just perfect as a resistance in those terms, right? So it seems like this is going to be the downtrend that prevails for the current moment being... if we do stay down over here, if we do hit 112k as a support, we're going to be looking at a first resistance, of course, at 117,000 before we do break the downtrend. This is the important downtrend because we've only got about 2 hours 45 minutes before this candle closes. I don't know about anything that's going to turn things around. It seems like this down movement will continue for a while. It's pretty good though. Like, I take advantage of it. Do not be afraid of it. This seems a good area of accumulation. Bitcoin will be considered oversold over here. I'm not telling you to go all in. If you really, really want to, put just a little bit of DCA in there because this could go on for a while longer, as we saw with how tariffs have impacted crypto in the past, thanks to Wall Street investors who are heavily loaded up on Bitcoin, especially the fact that, zoom out, Bitcoin is still at all-time high levels. Like, really? Come on. Or maybe that's the cycle top. No, it's not. It's definitely not. I have my own personal target, 135k for Bitcoin. A lot of other people, which I'll also talk about, including Michael Saylor, have set their targets around, we'll say above 150,000. And I'll get into more detail about that when we get to our little news segment. So, yeah. That's all I want to mention for that. Yeah, pay attention to 112k. It's the level that I have drawn over here. What is next? Ethereum is crashing as well a little bit. 3,661, down 4.55%. Broke down from our resistance, 3,700 something, and we're on our way down over here. We did not flip a negative super trend yet. That is pretty good. We might, if Bitcoin does continue to drop and hits 112,000, say goodbye to these levels. You got your first resistance. Is this even a... Sorry, not a resistance. Yeah, this was a resistance. We must now draw support levels. So what I will do... Where is it appropriate to do this? I don't think we're dropping to 1,300. I take the low point from June 22nd for a fib retracement. Right there approximately. This looks valid, actually. This as a support level, 3,500. We bounced off of that multiple times. We might see this as a very important support. So breaking down from 3,600 would take us to 3,500. Wow, very psychological levels, but there you go. Great. So that's what we got for Ethereum. Kind of dipping its toes in the water over here to see how far it can drop. You'll notice as well I don't have any positions open. We'll get to that when we get to that. I also removed those two from my favorites, Pump Fun and Sonic, which I do have a bit of news on Sonic as well that I'll discuss. They went up today quite significantly earlier this morning. I'll demonstrate all that stuff later. Solana flipped to a downtrend already without any halting, and It's on its way down. We're looking at 158 as a possible support. 158, 157. Why do I have this Leveltron? What about this one? Yeah, about 158. 158 looks valid. Ignore this line. I'm going to remove it. Just focus on the 158 for Solana. We are entering oversold territory, but, I mean, this decline is very, very sharp. Don't know where exactly it's going to slow down. I would predict a slowdown over here at 158. We're down 5.86%, and the current price is 168. Another $10 drop, that's absolutely possible. By the time Wall Street investors wake up and panic sell in the morning of tomorrow, we might even get bad economic data. Or, you know, at least stuff that doesn't meet our expectations in terms of job reports, right? The unemployment data and non-farm payrolls. We shall see tomorrow, though. It's kind of what you should expect anyway in a week full of volatility. This is something I've been warning you since last week. This week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will be getting some of that volatility because, man, you'll notice how flat Bitcoin was this whole time. And, you know, we're making a lower low after making a lower high. These are the signals of a start of a downtrend. So buckle up. This might take a while. XRP breaking below the $3 support line. That is not good. We already flipped to a negative super trend because of an explosive growth on XRP. I mean, it's still relatively high. Come on. $2.95 for XRP. That's pretty high still, right? I'm not saying you should buy here. I personally wouldn't. Nuh-uh. But we're down 5.50%. We're not technically oversold yet. We are in a downtrend, so this can continue downward, of course. We have our first support from pivots at 287 is where we can see a slowdown. And in terms of Fibonacci, 278 is the next level. And then I think this one would be the most important level, which wouldn't surprise me to see XRP crash to like 12% down lower than the lowest point that I just reached, hitting a low of 257. That's an attractive price for a humble man like me. So yeah, keep that in mind. Hey, look at that. Negative funding rate. You would be getting paid commission if you go long on XRP. That, my friends, it sounds good, but it's risky. It's not a big difference though. 0.0003%. Yeah, you might as well like go outside your house and find some pennies on the street. Like, it's that kind of insignificant amount. Doesn't matter. Pump fund is still here. Why are you still here? I was gonna remove it. Look at that timing. Wow. Am I just perfect at trading or what? So, a quick summary on what happened with Pump Fun. I bought over here, twice the dip. Didn't put too much in, right? We crashed lower. I was waiting for a breaking of this downtrend just to, you know, confirm where is the bottom. Okay, seems to be like this. We were lateralizing for a while. I decided to enter at a low point. Dipped a little bit lower, which was fine by me. My average price increased to about 0.0285, maybe, right? I could tell you the exact details, I guess, like position history. Pump fun, I made a grand. 0.02787, that was my average price, so like around here, right? Which is pretty good. We went positive, negative, positive, super positive. I woke up early this morning, around 7 a.m. And I saw, hey, we're like inches off my take profit because I did set a take profit at right here. 0.003333. Did it reach that? No, it didn't. And I saw it was so close, I'm like, you know what? I'm cutting it here. I could have made an extra $100 if I just waited. But good thing I didn't wait because, man, Pump Fun already dropped once again below. And hey, this was a 20% rise that we saw this morning. So I decided, hey, you know what? The take profit was there just in case the price spiked up. I was going to exit there anywhere. Anyway, I'm really, really close to it. I decided to close the position manually. And yeah, once again, good thing that I did. We got that PCE data that just started making markets crash. Not all markets, mainly crypto, right? And this 847 I took profits from yesterday in Sonic. I'll show the chart just to see what happened after I took the profit, which I'm not too proud of, but it is what it is. Still made profit nonetheless. Where is Sonic? It's like impossible to find here. Yeah, similar deal. Either way, I'm happy I'm out of it. I'm happy I still took some profit. Same deal, kind of what I did with Pump Fun. I entered twice, small positions. Entered a really low point over here. Didn't really wait for like a break of the downtrend, right? I just decided to enter based off of a possible bounce, which happened to be right over here where this buy signal is. We just exited the RSI oversold territory, and I just averaged the distance between these two prices. The fib at 0.2857 and the pivot support level at 0.2945. I averaged that out. It gave me like a level like this around here to 29 cents. Bought there, bought a lot more than what I bought in these two. Price immediately skyrockets. I saw this happen live last night. Decided to sell over here approximately 32. Did I sell? 33 I sold. So around over here. Now it continued to rise up to 35, and I did have a take profit over here, which if I just left it there, right over here, right? If I just left it there, I could have taken so much more profit, probably 1,200, 1,400, just rough guess. But it is what it is. I just decided to close it, and I said, hey, you know what? I might regret it, but I was still proud of the 800. It's fine. And I'm okay with it right now because literally look what happened right after that. Price crashes immediately back down to 30. We're down 7% with Sonic. And same deal with Pump Fund, 7% now down after a 20% rise earlier today. Crazy stuff like that, but you got to take advantage of this stuff, and that was what my goal was with this. I wasn't planning on staying in there for too long. I'm seeing a lot of bad fundamentals for Pump. I'm seeing a lot of bad fundamentals for Sonic, those two specific coins. But I managed to take advantage either way of the smallest bounce back. And who knows, maybe like I'll embarrass myself tomorrow and every coin does that, and I would have been like, oh, well, I guess I could have made like $7,000 just by holding. But I really don't think they will, to be honest with you. So I'm glad that I'm out. I skipped Sui, so let me talk about Sui. And I really want to start accumulating more positions now that I have the opportunities to do so, and also some money to do so, at least on this perpetual futures account. What did this say? Well, nothing. I don't know what that said. I'm gonna check over here what it said on my YouTube. Load faster. Here, Sui soars ecosystem boom amidst market volatility. Why are you lying? Anyway. Yeah, we'll let that run again. Where's my OBS? Okay. So, same deal with Sui. We're in a downtrend. It's official. No more uptrend. I hope you enjoyed the rise. If you managed to take profit over here, shoot me a private message. I will send you a cookie or something. So downtrend is now a thing. We're breaking out of this support. Is this even a support? It's not. I'm deleting this. We must now draw, now that we're in a downtrend, where can we bounce off of? That is the main question. Switch to daily chart because this is so complicated to see. I'm using the low point from War Day, June 23rd, to max high day. When was our best day? July 28th? Those are a couple days ago. Are you sure? I guess. August 1. Oh, it was probably July 27. It's because we're using like a different time zone on this specific chart for whatever reason. What just happened here? What did you just do? Whatever. Can I refresh? I don't like the look of that. I have OCD and that really bothers me. Alright, back to Sui. Okay, cool. Fib saved. Perfect. So we just broke out of this support. In the daily chart, you also saw that it was a monthly pivot, so we're breaking out of that very crucial level. The next level that we're looking at is 336. 336. Sui at $3.36. I still think that is expensive. I really do think that is still expensive. We don't got to worry about max supply for Sui. I still have to look into the tokenomics, like, very, very deeply, like I did with Sonic, like I did with Pump Fun. I'm going to have to start analyzing each individual project a little bit more closely. That's going to be my goals. But we still got room to drop. We're not oversold yet, and it seems like our next support, 337, you could look at that. And then if we do break that, miraculously, because, I mean, Sui is a volatile coin. We're down 7% alone today at 353. Yeah, so breaking 337 could drop us lower to 314, 313, 312, 311, 312, or 313. You know what? Yeah. Because that coincides with the support too. And then, of course, $3 psychological entry. I don't think we're going to drop that far, though. Guarantee a drop to here. Worst case scenario here. There you go. For audio listeners, I said guaranteed drop to 337. Worst case scenario drop to 313. Moving on. Cardano also flipping down to a downtrend. Unfortunate. We were not able to break out of this. I was hoping we did, because this is the one from one of our high levels. I think are from 2024, and this one is from all-time high levels from like 2021. Significant stuff, but oh well. We have a new downtrend. As minuscule as this may appear, it exists and it's there. Where's my phone? I should charge my phone. I'm realizing this right now. Yes, I know. I'm also gonna disconnect. There we go. I have a stop loss on Cardano. Well, everything is still dropping. Hold on. Where's my charger? Okay. Where can we drop to for Cardano? That is a good question. Ever since our uptrend. Right over here, I'm flipping to a daily chart. Again, it did the thing. Okay. What is going on? I'm all over the place. There, that looks good. And looks like we hit a support right now. It's 72 cents. We're at 73 right now. Breaking that 72. Oh, I see. So we could see a slowdown around this zone, right? 71 to 72 cents because of this uptrend. Breaking that uptrend would take us down to here, this support level at 66, 67 cents for Cardano. So watch out for that. I think this might be broken with ease by tomorrow morning. And if the data that comes out is not as good as expected, we'll see Cardano at 67 cents once again. It sucks to see it below 80. I really hate to see that. But it is what it is. Okay. In terms of resistances, though, like breaking out of the downtrend would require a breakout from 83 at least. Otherwise, you know, we could just readjust to wherever Cardano decides to bounce off of. If it does. If the data is good in that sense. Last coin I'll check is Litecoin. Yeah, stop loss. Stop loss is good. Is it really good? Not really. I could have taken more profits is essentially what that meant, but I still secured my money back plus a bit of profit. It's usually $100, but commission usually likes to screw me over, the funding fees specifically. Litecoin's still maintaining its uptrend, but it's not looking like it's going to be able to do that for long. Actually, we kind of spiked down a little bit. We hit a low of 103 just now. Our current price is 105. That's exactly where we have an important support. So it's weakening, but that support level getting broken, where would this take us to? Like, even if I remove that Fibonacci, you still understand why we have a support here, right? Super trend invalidation and pivot level. From this low point, War Day, seems like that is the low point for most coins if I'm drawing a fib retracement. War Day. Hey, look at that fib. 104.70, almost 105 exactly. Further reinforces the idea that this is an important support. Dropping us below that would take us to this uptrend that's looking at $100 probably. Mr. Blow and Chunks, meme coins getting wrecked. Probably a sign we're going to get an uptick soon. I mean, yeah. That is also true, right? When it comes to tariffs and everything like that, the first thing people get rid of is, oh, what's worthless? The meme coins, yeah, we're getting rid of those. And then to add insult to injury, a lot of Wall Street investors are in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe even Solana at this point due to ETFs. And yep, that gets sold off as well. So just further pushes everything down and drives Bitcoin dominance up in general because, you know, people are still kind of skeptical on holding alts. We're not sure if alt season really started. That's the kind of deal that we're expecting. You sold 50% of your meme positions 3 days ago. That is perfect, I think. 3 days ago, yeah. Yeah, if that was the high point of July 27, 28, yeah. Seems like it was a good point. Depending on which meme positions you had. Me personally, like, the only thing closest to a meme I had was Pump Fund that I got out of just today, which I just talked about, so... Got in and out at a perfect position. I'm probably not going to re-enter Pump Fund. It's flipped to an uptrend, though. That's the one thing I had to point out, but I still don't think we've bottomed out yet. Like, this market sentiment is going to... Pump is going to get contaged from that, if that's a word. It's gonna feel contagious, right, to move further downward. That's kind of my projection for it. So I will remove Pump Fund from favorites just because I do not want to cover it for the time being. They're undergoing a lawsuit, which might also take a longer time, just apart from macroeconomic stuff, like apart from tariffs, apart from Bitcoin dominance. They're undergoing a lawsuit that just seems to keep on expanding, so I'm going to stay away from it for now. Yeah, cool. All right. Next, opportunities for entry, probably not yet. I'd wait until tomorrow. We're still getting lots of longs liquidated. $107 million were liquidated in just 1 hour. $106 million from long positions. Doesn't seem like a lot, actually. I think more deserves to be liquidated. And that was just in 1 hour, though. Imagine this whole time that things have been dropping. Anyway. Of course, Trump gave his comments on yesterday's FOMC, saying, Jerome, too late, Powell has done it again. He's too late and actually too angry, too stupid, too political to have the job of Fed chair. He's costing our country trillions of dollars, in addition to one of the most incompetent or corrupt renovations of buildings in the history of construction. Put another way, too late is a total loser, and our country is paying the price. Just further trying to add even more pressure on Jerome Powell, but it seems like it's not really working. He can't fire Jerome Powell. He can't force him to lower interest rates. He's just going to have to wait until his term ends, which will be next year, which I don't know if we really want to wait that long. But hey, 2026, guaranteed you're going to get some rate cuts. A lot of them. If Trump appoints somebody that will do what Trump says. Because they're a private institution, right? The Federal Reserve. The president has no control over what they do. I just slapped my mic. I'm sorry if that made a loud noise, but it's probably fine. China suspends U.S. investments amid the trade war, and Scott Bessent gave his comments on this. First of all, on India, they're saying that they have not been a great global actor. On China, he said that the Chinese are tough negotiators. We have makings of a deal. Obviously, nothing confirmed as of yet. And also the fact that they're imposing that trade restriction on U.S. companies, it's probably not going to help during this trade war. There the Russia thing. So, of course, as we all know, Trump is kind of pressuring Russia by quote unquote attacking India, who buys a lot of things like energy and weapons from Russia. And when asked about it, I'm pretty sure Trump said that India and Russia, they have dead economies. I don't care what India does with Russia. They can take their dead economies down together for all I care. Because he started putting a 25% tariff on India until Russia decides to do something to end the war. Also, that's why he's been getting some criticism as well, because it's like Trump is pulling in India into all of this mess of the whole Russia-Ukraine deal. And maybe they don't want to be involved. And also the fact that, we'll see what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's not looking good, but it is what it is. And Russia's response comes from the former Russian president, I can never pronounce this guy's name, Medvedev. He tells President Trump to, hey, remember how dangerous the fabled dead hand can be. And if you don't know what the dead hand is, it's a system that automatically launches nuclear missiles if Russia's leadership is destroyed. Meaning that if there's a surprise attack on Russia and a lot of Russia just suddenly gets blown up, if all these European countries and the United States and Canada and all these English-speaking countries is what it seems like decide to attack Russia, they have this emergency button that will fire back directly to those countries that attacked it, right? So he's threatening nuclear war. The former Russian president, the guy that has no power currently. And Trump responds to this, issuing a warning, saying, tell Medvedev, the failed former president of Russia, who thinks he's still president, to watch his words. He's entering very dangerous territory. So it seems like Trump is trying to get really serious and to intimidate the Russians into forcing an end to this war, because fair enough, it is needed. And the whole 10 to 12 days thing, that's going to come up next week, right? That's also part of the reason why I'm taking it a little slow on the markets right now, not until I get confirmation that Russia is actually getting serious about a ceasefire. If they do, propose a ceasefire with Ukraine, finally, then, markets will start rising again and it'll be safe to enter because peace, of course, is bullish for Bitcoin. But if not, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. That uncertainty, it's also being reflected on the markets. Part of the reason why it's dropping. Not the only reason. Like I said, we still got a lot of other uncertain aspects. What's going to happen with tariffs tomorrow, the information that's coming out tomorrow, the economic data, rate cuts. Will those really be happening? Will we still get 2 rate cuts, or is it reduced down to 1, which is not something that the market likes? Also, I've been paying attention to this and I haven't really been talking about it. My apologies for that. But the dollar index, it's been on the rise. Meaning that the US dollar is strengthening against every other asset, right? If you're measuring Bitcoin against the US dollar, which one is stronger? You'll notice that in recent days or weeks, the dollar has been getting stronger. But before this, it's been getting weaker. That's why Bitcoin has taken advantage of that and started rising ever since the beginning of July, right? But, it's been relatively stable until recently. It's just started spiking up over here. And this is because of the good economic data and the fact that we are not getting rate cuts. If you do get rate cuts, that underlying economy's dollar will weaken, right? But the fact that we don't see a possible rate cut, the projections have now kind of been reduced from 2 to 1. The markets are now pricing this in. The fact that we're not going to get any rate cuts. The US dollar strengthens, Bitcoin weakens. That's kind of what it means. Because if you reduce interest rates on the US dollar, there's just more that can be printed and it becomes less valuable. But if that quantitative easing isn't there, the US dollar, it's not getting printed a lot, inflation is low, then there's still reasons to hold on to the US dollar, right? Because it's still a strong asset in that sense. Just some food for thought. All right. But Trump's view on tariffs is that they are making America great and rich again, which I kind of agree in part. They were successfully used against the USA for decades, and coupled with really dumb, pathetic, and crooked politicians, were having a devastating impact on the future and even the survival of our country. Now the tide has completely turned, and America has successfully countered this onslaught of tariffs used against it. 1 year ago, America was a dead country. Now it is the hottest country anywhere in the world. Congratulations to all. And now let's talk about what's going to happen tomorrow. This whole tariff stuff. Canada is also part of it. Well, first of all, Trump is appalled by what Canada has just done. And it's not just Canada. Apparently, it was also France, I heard, and maybe even the UK. This whole talks of recognizing the Palestinian state, right? Trump says that Canada has just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. And, I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of time given to this guy, Mark Carney, to set up some form of a trade deal with the United States. I mean, he did visit him before, but nothing came of that one meeting at the Oval Office. Not the Oval Office. Is that the Oval Office? I don't know. The Golden Room. And so, since then, we have not heard anything from Mark Carney. He's been taking vacations. He's been, nothing. Where's the trade deals? When is it going to happen? It seems like he's leaving it till last minute. So Trump now is signing an executive order that will raise the tariffs on Canadian goods from 25% to 35%. Trump is increasing the tariffs to Canada. And, I mean, Mark Carney is just sending aid to Gaza instead of dealing with this issue. In my opinion, that's not right. Yeah, $340 million to humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Sure, I guess they needed, but okay, come on. We also got our problems. Fix them. And hey, apparently he has tried, but it's been too last minute, and I think Trump is ignoring him about it. According to Trump, Carney tried calling him today on the last day, but Trump didn't take the call. Carney tried to pull a power-heavy move and got crushed. It's pretty funny. And our premier, Doug Ford, he's just on another planet completely. He's saying that I will fight like I've never fought before. We're going to continue fighting against President Trump and his radical views. These guys are not right. Like, the way to counter tariffs is not to counter tariffs. It's to negotiate a deal to end tariffs. Right? If it only were that easy. Anyways, now with Mexico, remember these two countries, Canada and Mexico, they were like pushed to the bottom of the topics list for such a long time in terms of tariffs, but now they've started to come back up because tomorrow's the big day. Mexico will continue to pay 25% tariff on fentanyl, on cars. Okay, not on fentanyl. What am I saying? They're paying a fentanyl tariff. The reason tariffs are there is because of the fentanyl trafficking. It's not that they're accepting fentanyl and charging 25%. That would be absurd. Anyway, 25% on cars, 50% on steel, aluminum, and copper. And Mexico has agreed to immediately terminate its non-tariff trade barriers. Okay, cool. And here's the executive order to further modify reciprocal tariff rates. Here's a lot of percentages, which, can you even read this? I can't. Can I open image? Here we go. Afghanistan, Algeria, Angola, Bangladesh. What is the highest one, I wonder? 40% on Laos? Really? Reciprocal tariff that is adjusted. And then we also have another list right over here. For the rest of these countries, Myanmar, it seems like all the high tariffs are from like these pathetic small countries. Well, except for Serbia and South Africa. 40% almost on Switzerland, Syria 41. Taiwan 20%. Hey, that's not bad. They've already made trade deals with Vietnam and stuff, so yeah, those make sense. All right, cool. Moving on to some crypto news. In terms of what analysts are predicting for Bitcoin's price rise. Are we still in a bull market, guys? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We can see a down movement, sure, because of what's going to happen tomorrow and maybe the week after for Russia-Ukraine. Although we've noticed that Russia-Ukraine has not had too crazy of an impact on the markets, right? But this tariff stuff, it does. It absolutely will. So I'd just be cautious for tomorrow. Could be a good buying opportunity. Could be. Would also depend on what the countries do again. So, yeah. I know, I'm sorry for insulting those countries. They're not pathetic and small. I'm sure they're great. Lol. Alright, so Michael Saylor says that analysts are forecasting Bitcoin to hit $168,000 on average by the end of 2025. Alright, where is that? Where is that? 168K on average. So from where we are right now, it's another 45%. Yeah, it could happen. My personal target, me specifically, 135K right here. That has not changed. Because, I mean, this has been too perfect. This fib extension that I've drawn, like I used it from this high and this low, right? And, of course, our August 5 low. We hit that perfect 112,000 resistance. We dropped, it's whatever. We hit this perfect 122, 123,000 resistance. We're dropping, it's whatever. And I think our next point is going to be 135,000. Maybe I'm speaking specifically to this year, 2025. Because there's still stuff that could happen, right? Trump can do this whole tariff thing. That's always a possibility. Volatility index will spike. Trump's a volatile guy, right? He'll tweet a word and everything crash or everything pump, right? So there you go. That's what Michael Saylor is saying. But him personally, he, like his strategy company is predicting that Bitcoin will reach 150,000 by the end of this year, which I kind of agree. Maybe, sure. It's a bit more on the aggressive side, but I think it still works. A lot of people also have their target at 170,000 approximately, even people at 220, 230,000. That was way earlier in the year, though. I'm pretty sure those people have already changed what their projections are looking like so far. Me personally, like I said, 135,000. All right. U.S. Treasury just bought back another $2 billion of its own debt, which is bullish. Treasury buybacks reduce debt supply, they boost liquidity, they mimic quantitative easing effects, lowering yields and supporting risk assets like stock and crypto. It's bullish overall. But obviously we're more concerned with other stuff. That is why we're not rising due to this news. And yeah, but we got a dip to the dip tomorrow. I agree. Yeah. Tomorrow is going to be a tough day. So grab onto something. Some good Coinbase news. Well, first they're mentioning that they are long on Bitcoin. They're always buying Bitcoin. Their holding increased by 2,509 Bitcoins in Q2 of this year. And we keep on buying more, is what they say. Coinbase is also going to be launching tokenized stocks and prediction markets for United States users. That will be fun and interesting. Can't wait for that. I'm not included in it because I'm not in the US. But, I mean, that's pretty cool. This is practically Polymarket. This is practically what we're seeing with Robinhood. No, not with just Robinhood. I think it was, what else was it? Gemini that also did this. And it was also in Solana, whatever they used. I already forget. Radium, Solana. They allowed tokenized stocks on Solana. That'll be pretty cool. It'll help mimic the whole speculative trading, after hours, 24/7 trading, right? No barriers. That's the good stuff about it. And I was also going to mention about Coinbase, their stock price today, because they just got earnings and it went really well. But the price is crashing. That's pretty funny. Revenue came in a little bit less, and projections for what's coming up next, I think, is kind of making the price drop. But the earnings was good. Whatever. This also has to do with market sentiment, the fact that Bitcoin is also on its way down. So you'll notice that Coinbase does kind of mimic the movements of Bitcoin sometimes. So that's one thing about it. Sonic, speaking of Sonic, once again I have to search this up, which I will probably not find. I found it. They're saying that the first season of the Sonic airdrop just got an upgrade. There's a new 5 Sonic minimum claim. There's 70 Sonics per shard, 1 per wallet. This was something, the reason why Sonic was dropping was because this thing got delayed, but it's finally back. So people who were waiting for this and were bearish because of it are now back to being bullish. But that happened around 4 p.m. So I think it's probably too late. And I also think this is a bearish thing overall. You're adding more tokens to the supply with airdrops. So yeah, people will sell that off eventually. And the staking thing as well. Soft staking is gaining a serious traction across Sonic Labs ecosystem. So yeah, the DeFi, it's doing its thing, but the staking thing, also part of what I disagree with. You're adding more tokens to circulation. You're not going to see the highs that you saw in 2021 for Phantom, or the highs in last year, 2024. Probably not. Unless this thing absolutely takes off, because 400,000 TPS is insane. Insanely good. Better than Ethereum, Solana, Sui combined. Anyway. Brave Browser is getting in on this whole Pudgy Penguin thing. Yeah. Everybody's doing it. What is Pengu at? 33. That's a good crash. I'd like to buy it cheaper, though. Much cheaper. My favorite meme coins are like Pengu, Pepe. Not a fan of Shib or Doge anymore. What else we got? I don't really... I know Bonk is popular, but I'm not really too much of a fan of it. I think it's alright, it's funny, but I don't know. Just something about it I don't really vibe with. And if I really want to get some exposition... Okay, Trump meme. No, I wouldn't even touch Trump meme anymore. It's too speculative. Loki I don't mess with. I really go for Pump Fun if I want to get exposition into what meme coins... The meme coin popularity, right? Right now they're not that popular. Pump Fun also crashing, but, you know, when you want to buy, trade meme coins, when you want to create meme coins, what do you use? You use Solana, you use Pump Fun. So those are the two benefiters from meme coins. And we saw stuff like that, especially with Solana last year. Solana reaching its all-time high of almost $300 thanks to, of course, the most popular person on the whole planet, Donald Trump, releasing a meme coin on Solana. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he switched it to Tron's blockchain instead of Solana because of his friendship with Justin Sun. Justin Sun, of course, like CEO of Tron, by the way, owning the most Trump coins, getting invited to that one Trump dinner, receiving a golden watch from Trump, heavily involved in Trump's DeFi, the Trump family with their World Liberty Financial, right? They hold a lot of Ethereum, a lot of Tron as well, thanks to Justin Sun, and also an economic advisor, I think, to one of his sons, something like that. Heavily involved with the Trump family is this guy, Justin Sun, Tron. So, I mean, if you want some of that, you can get involved there. Me, personally, I don't like Tron, nor Justin Sun. He's a interesting guy, but whatever. I really want some Hyperliquid. If we do get a nice dip, I'm buying Hyperliquid. Do we even have it here? Yeah, we do. It's still above 40. Oh, that's unfortunate. I want it below 30. Like, I wanted to see these prices. I don't think we will, though. Yeah, I'm going to have to do more profound analysis on these. Still going to take some time. All right. Yeah, that's all I got then for now. I'm not really going to enter any positions. Like I said, I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to slow it down, wait till tomorrow, see what we get. I wonder how Athena's doing. Athena was rising a lot today. Not recently added gainers. Athena's no longer top gainer. Keep in mind, a couple hours ago, we had Sonic up here. We had Pump Fun. We had Athena. Athena was because of its integration with what was it called? Aptos? Was it Aptos? It was no Aave. It was Aave. Something like that. And Aave was the only one that was not rising, but Ave's much lower now, definitely. Guaranteed. 6%. Imagine this. I was looking at this morning and thinking, like, should I enter here? Or was it around here? Yeah, we're still crashing on this. Like, I even drew this retracement. We can still drop, guaranteed. And how is Athena doing? Do we even have it? Yes. It's not too bad, actually. Because of a good rise that it had. Right over here. Alright, cool. Also negative funding fee. That's pretty good. We're going to crash. Good entry would probably be over here, 49 cents. Alright, cool. There we go. That's all I have for the stream today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll be covering that economic data that I said. We'll keep an eye on the percentages, the probability of us seeing any rate cuts, right? That's obviously very important. Why is Thursday stuck on the top over here? Oh, there we go, Friday. Non-farm payroll, unemployment. Yeah. Cool. Great. Thanks for watching. Bye.